Welcome to Auto Next, the home of power, history and machines that changed the world. Close your eyes and picture the chaos of World War II. Explosions tearing across the battlefield, the roar of artillery shaking the earth, soldiers moving, forward with courage in their hearts and fear in their eyes. And among the dust, the fire and the steel, one machine emerges as a game changer. The M4A3E8 Sherman, better known as the EZ8. This wasn't just a tank, it was a revolution on tracks. Born from the lessons of brutal combat, the EZ8 became the most advanced version of America's Sherman tank family. The high-in-Dasik original Shermans were dependable, but often outmatched by German heavy armor like the Tiger and Panther. The Allies needed something stronger, faster, and deadlier. And that's when the M4A3E8 rolled onto the scene. So, what made the EZ8 so special? Let's break it down. First, the gun. Early Shermans carried the 75mm gun, which struggled to penetrate heavy German tanks. But the EZ8 carried a high-velocity 76mm cannon. This weapon had greater accuracy, more penetration power, and could finally challenge German armor on equal ground. With the right ammunition, it could punch through even the thick plates of a Panther. That meant the battlefield was no longer one-sided. The EZ8 gave Allied crews a fighting chance. Second, the suspension. The EZ8 introduced the HVSS, or horizontal volute spring suspension. To most, that sounds technical, but for the men driving it, it was life-saving. This new suspension made the ride smoother, gave better stability, and allowed the tank to carry wider tracks. Wider tracks meant better grip, less sinking in muddy ground, and more maneuverability. In battle, mobility meant survival. Third, the engine and performance. The M4A3E8 was powered by the Ford GAA V8 gasoline engine, pumping out 500 horsepower. That gave it a top speed of around 30 to 35 miles per hour. Impressive for a 30-ton beast of steel. It could travel nearly 100 miles on one tank of fuel. Not lightning fast, but fast enough to keep up with advancing infantry and crush resistance wherever it appeared. But a tank isn't just about steel and firepower, it's about the crew inside. The EZ8 carried 5 men: commander, gunner, loader, driver, and co-driver. Every crew member had to trust the machine and trust each other. Inside, it was cramped, noisy, and hot, but it was also a fortress. Soldiers relied on its armor to protect them, and its gun to fight back. In Europe during late 1944 and 1945, the EZ8 proved its worth. On the roads of France, through the forests of Belgium, and in the final push into Germany, these tanks rolled forward, breaking enemy defenses and securing victory for the Allies. One of its most famous moments came during the Battle of the Bulge, where EZ8s faced off against German armor in freezing, brutal conditions, and stood their ground. And the story didn't end with World War II. When the Korean War erupted, in 1950, the EZ8 returned to the fight. Against North Korean T-34s, it showed once again that it was more than just a relic of the past. Its firepower, mobility, and reliability made it a backbone of American armored forces well into the 1950s. Beyond the battlefield, the EZ8 also found its place in history books, museums, and even popular culture. Many people today remember it from movies like Fury, where it was showcased as a symbol of grit, teamwork, and unstoppable power. Think about this. Over 50,000 Sherman tanks were built in different versions, but the EZ8 stood out as the ultimate evolution of the design. Stronger gun, better suspension, more reliable engine. It was the Sherman perfected. Today, when you see an M4A3E8 Sherman preserved in a museum, it's not just a piece of old metal. It's a reminder of the courage of the crews who fought inside, of the innovation that kept the Allies in the fight, and of the steel giant that rolled across continents to bring victory. The EZ8 wasn't the heaviest tank. It wasn't the thickest armored, but it was balanced, effective, and reliable. And in war, that's what wins battles. So when history tells the story of World War II and the Korean War, The M4A3E8 Sherman is more than just a machine. It's a legend. A tank that carried nations to victory, rolled through fire and chaos, and proved that sometimes the right balance of speed, power, and reliability can change the world. This is the M4A3E8 Sherman, the Easy 8, the legend on tracks.